Well, thank you very much for inviting me to share my story related to my journey into the early childhood development cause. And I called my presentation Building the Future Now by Investing in Early Childhood Development. I guess many of you have heard this phrase, ECD is not a policy domain. Has any one of you heard it? It's not a policy like health, it's not education, it's not social protection. What is it? Have you heard these statements before? It's not a significant policy domain. What is it? It's part of everything. Well, obviously, we are going to face, as a community of like-minded change makers, we are going to face this lack of understanding that ECD is the foundation for all the key policies that are related to the sustainable development and the resilient societies that we all want to bring nowadays. But unfortunately, a lot of people who have power and resources do not realize this, which makes our journey even more important. So my story about being such a passionate person in the ECD arena started many years ago, actually in 1997. When I was a student, I wanted to start a tourist company in Bulgaria. It's a beautiful country. Why not devote my future to tourism? But then I ended up visiting a children's home. They used to be called orphanages in my country at the time. And that was the moment when, as a young person, I saw the children and I looked at their eyes, and I know that many of you have seen this. These are the eyes of children who are not loved. These are the eyes of children who have lost hope. These are the eyes of children who have lost looking for their battle, looking for love, recognition, and respect. And you know, when kids are curious, the speakers before me, my colleague from Malta was talking about curiosity, the responding environment, which gives you the feeling from very young age that you are heard, you are important. This is what I didn't see with the children in the institutions. Later on, when I was already a parent, I visited another institution full of 150 babies, and that was the moment I decided I want to be part of changing the status quo in my country, and I want to see the last orphanage to be closed. So this is how my journey started, dedicating my life to the closure of institutions, to the provision of family support and hope in the eyes of all children in my country. I'm going to walk you through shortly with 4 important stops in this journey, important moments which gave me the energy I have today. Obviously, the first stop was, okay, it's not just my hope to be part of this change-making momentum in Bulgaria and Europe and the world. I need to do it actually on the ground. So this is how I started creating integrated ECD services together with my team. This is the way the orphanage or the institution for abandoned babies looked like. Now you can see the way the building looked like when we emptied it, and I took photos when it was empty, just for you to see partially the environment in which children were taken care of. And I would like to point out the photo on the top right end. That was the room where every Christmas I was allowed with my team to organize Christmas celebrations with the children in the institutions. And to tell you the truth, my friends, that was the worst part of my life, because I was supposed, together with, you know, animators, with my team dressed up. We had a colleague who was always Santa Claus. He was very good at that, to bring presents and to make the children have joy, probably once in a year. But I never managed to stay till the end of the party because I started crying 5 minutes after that, simply because I knew that it's not fair for these children to have this amount of joy once a year. of course, people who know me, I am a change maker. This is the way the building looks now, and I'm so happy that some of you have visited it and felt that it's totally different space. So a former institution can be a building with a new energy and a new mission. Now this is an early childhood development complex where children do not stay in the night being alone. They don't sleep there because they are in family environment. But as you can see, actually, this is the photo, and over there on the right top corner, this is the same room, looking very, very different. The aim to create this complex was to provide support services to the parents, to the children, but not only for them to come and visit the complex. We are providing also mobile services for them in their family environment, but also in the community. And of course, we work a lot with community leaders and especially Roma leaders to ensure that we include all children. For me, the first stop was creating the services, showing that it is possible in Bulgaria, but it was not enough. Because as you all know, very often we face so many challenges and blockages, it feels like, it's impossible. I don't have the energy to continue. This is the moment we need a colleague. We need a person like James or Live or many of you or Lucy to call you and to say, guys, I'm feeling very desperate. I can't move forward. And to hear the encouraging word, you are not alone. That's why my second stop in my journey was dedicated to the mission to align and unite. I'm one of the founders of the National Network for Children. I've been a board member for many international organizations, but my mission in Bulgaria was to invite all the ECD passionate professionals and dedicated researchers and people from the business sector to join our first alliance. The alliance has been set up in 2017. We have only 42 NGOs and individual academic researchers who are members. Of course, we are very proud that thanks to the existence of the alliance, we were privileged to participate in the EU campaign First Year's First Priority. I'm really happy that Agatha is here and a lot of other people who made this campaign possible. I'm sorry we cannot sustain this because today this campaign is even more needed. But why the Bulgarian voice was heard on the European campaign arena? Because we had the alliance, because we had all the dedicated professionals together. Also, the alliance enabled us to apply for hosting the ISA conference, which took place in Bulgaria just several days ago, and we are so happy because it is a catalyst for significant change. So this experience of uniting and aligning is my second building block in my career, so to say, because when you are not alone, you can be successful. This was not enough because I wanted to be even better when policymakers and people from the corporate sector would challenge me with, where are your arguments? So what does the data say? Of course, I would be quoting these two gentlemen very often and many more researchers, but I didn't have research background. So almost 6 years ago, I decided I will do my PhD and dedicate it to parents' participation in ECC. Why? Just to develop my own personal arguments when I'm fighting for the cause of ECD investment. So this is a short presentation of selection of my research topics. Obviously, I wanted to do a system analysis at municipal level, local level. So together with the Bulgarian Academy of Science, we did a research. What happens after the children go out from the maternity hospital and before they enter creche? So we called the research the hidden children because it happens that, yes, GPs are servicing in terms of health, controlling medical checks, but they do not follow the family dynamics at all. And when the children enter creches, it's far too late for some separation and violence issues. Then my other priority areas in the research was my dissertation to explore, are parents really considered as partners from the creches in Bulgaria? Creches in my country are subordinate to the health system, so we have the split system. So now when I'm debating with the Minister of Health, I have my own research to back up that we need to synchronize the system and we need to ensure the family approach, the family-centered approach is not just applied in the social protection field, but also in the health system. Then my interest was directed towards the workforce. Many of the people before me spoke about, and especially in the Czech Republic, I heard even yesterday, there is a big challenge with attracting the young generation to our sector. So I wanted to know why. In Bulgaria, we also have shortage of ECEC professionals, ECD professionals. Why do we have very little number of professionals who have the capacity to provide early childhood intervention? And together with Professor Jan Peters and Aisha, a very dear friend of ours, we applied the competence system theoretical and conceptual framework in our research to actually show in Bulgaria that a lot is being done in the educational sphere to produce, to invest in good salary, good remuneration, good working conditions in the kindergartens and schools, but not the same effort is invested in the social sphere. So it creates a big disbalance. Teachers are being paid more than professional social workers. And then I did study on the relation of poverty, child poverty with ECD, doing the deep dive into child poverty. And my latest research was on the quality of ECEC in Bulgaria. So, having this journey, obviously, as you can imagine, I was very tired, so I go for my sabbatical and received a phone call from the previous Prime Minister who said, Ivanka, I respect your journey so far, so would you like to become a Minister of Labor and Social Policy? I said, okay, I've never dreamt of that. It's not part of my career plan. And by the way, I have my sabbatical. And I need it because it's far too many years in the social sphere. We tend to get tired. Of course, I accepted. Why not? If I want to move the world, if I want to make Bulgaria a better place for children from the very start, better to use the opportunity. Obviously, I was told my political mandate as a minister will be pretty short, year and a half. I was like, okay, better than nothing. In fact, it turned to be only 10 months. So I was clear. What I need to focus should produce quick and tangible change. Very hard choice. Not for me, of course. ECD was supposed to be a top political priority. So when the Prime Minister's office asked me to suggest priorities in the whole government agenda and plan, ECD was one of it. That was my first mission. Second, I wanted to validate that this policy priority is also supported by the health minister and the educational minister, because I told them, unless we go with the same voice and we are together in this journey, people will treat it as only a social protection priority. Can they say no to me? No way. I really convinced them. The next step was to design a national working group to be a permanent working group dedicated to early childhood development. And I know some of you are now thinking, oh, another working group. We are fed up of working groups getting together, no results. Sometimes it's really tiring. But my dear colleagues, in the national system of decision-making, the working group is the legitimate formula to take all the points of view and to really push for a political decision. I invested longer time in the design of the working group than the actual working group, because I was also, like probably some of you, fed up of ineffective working groups who waste people's time. And they ignore the voices of children, they do not take the voices of parents, they are not inclusive and effective. So obviously, I personally invested a lot of time, and together with the other two ministers, we were very highly decisive on having an effective permanent group on ECD. Obviously, I was very strict on including the voices of children and parents. So, the most interesting thing was that the moderation of the working group was not delivered by state officials. I invited professionals to do the great moderation that you do. Why? Because it takes a lot of professionalism and experience and a lot of other qualities, which many often we do not have in the state administration. So what is the first result? Obviously, we have the first action plan devoted to early childhood development in Bulgaria. It was passed with the decision of the Council of Ministers, opened by the Prime Minister. I was really proud. It took place at the last Council of Ministers meeting before our government was taken down. Obviously, this is the first plan which provides a definition of early childhood development because, as I said, many people didn't know what it was. It stipulates the main areas of impact, namely health and nutrition, early learning, education and care, child protection, security and safety, social protection and parenting support, and early childhood intervention. And of course, the plan is very clear on how it will be monitored, how it will be evaluated against the national targets. Why? Because governments have to be accountable. Ministers have to report on results. There is no time to waste, just like my colleagues said. The next thing that I was very proud during only these 10 months was I produced together with universities, with researchers, the first workforce development strategy in the social sphere. Why? Because as I already mentioned, there was a big disbalance and a lot of people from the social sector were moving away either in the business sector or in other welfare sectors, simply because we didn't have a strategy and we didn't provide them with the equal opportunities for professional development. We are very happy that this strategy is there, and now it's going to be enforced with action plans, resources, and opportunities for career development. So as you can see, I was a very different minister because I really decided that if I have devoted so many years to child prosperity and family support, I need to use the power that I am given and the expectation of the constituents of my country to really make a change. This is something that I truly believe in. It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. You are not the people I need to convince, but this is something that I read myself very often, and I quote very often. So this is me. I'm really thankful that I had the chance to tell you my story, which shows that today we are here, tomorrow we can change our country, we can change Europe, we can change the world. And if we are tired or disappointed, just let's call each other and let's support each other. For me, investing in ECD begins a profound and transformational journey in our society. So we should create the future now when it is the time, and not tomorrow when it will be far too late. Thank you.